continue to demand that the district attorney in this judicial circuit resign immediately. We will also demand that George Barnhill resign because he said that those murderers were justified. They're not just angry because Ahmaud he was killed. They're angry because this continues to happen and nothing is ever done.
Hello, family. Welcome to African Esquire TV, and I'm your host, Tierney Cherie. I want to talk about the horrendous case that has been spoken about a lot in the news, and that is Ahmaud Arbery. By now, I'm sure you've seen the video of an unarmed black man just going on a run and being chased down by two white racists who felt that they had the backing of the law to where they could take this man's life. They just based on the color of his skin assumed that he was a burglar, and as a lot of white men do feel, they felt that they were in the position to where they could carry out the law without any due process, and they murdered this man in cold blood. You know, there's a lot that can be said, obviously, about what's going on. There's a lot that can be said about racism in the United States, about the existence of prejudice that will always exist, in my opinion, because there is just a fundamental belief that black men are not supposed to be free, that black women are not supposed to be free, and that the black community is allowed to be hunted down whenever it is deemed in the interest of society. That is just an ever-existing prejudice that has always existed in this country, and I personally don't believe that it's going to be eradicated anytime soon. So that's obviously something that we all know. It's something that we should all be able to recognize by now. But what I want to more so focus this message on today is us, the black community. How do we make this case different than all the other cases? And what I mean by all the other cases is, even though every once in a while there is a conviction, every once in a while there's an indictment against police or against white males who feel like they are in a position, or white women who feel like they're in a position to take the lives of black people. It does happen every once in a while that the justice system does react in some type of way that is appropriate. More often than not, we know that that's not going to be the case. We know that it's going to be justified by the justice system. But to me, it shouldn't matter either way. Even if both of these guys, which I don't doubt is going to happen, even if both of them are found guilty, I still believe that we are already, just by the fact of taking his life, it is already too late to actually feel like justice is going to be done. Because justice does not look like having your children walk outside every single day and feeling like they could be the victim of someone's wild imagination about black criminality or black sexuality. That is not justice. And so, even more so, justice is not being in the position as a people to where other people from outside communities feel justified that they can take your life and have no ramifications. That's really the injustice, is that in this country, regardless of if the verdict is guilty or not guilty, and hopefully it is guilty, but in this country, there is a belief that I am justified to do whatever I want to your community, and I will not have any ramifications. That is the danger that we should be worried about more than anything. And not to say that we shouldn't care about there being a guilty verdict, but more than a guilty verdict, we need to change that dynamic, because we're essentially in the position of being sitting ducks inside of a racist country. We're essentially in a position where none of us can feel protected, and we're essentially in a position that we have to rely on a racist justice system to do right by us. The same justice system that incarcerates us more than any other people, the same justice system that has ripped our families apart. We rely on them to give a verdict of guilty or not guilty. That's just not in a smart position to be in as a people. So when I'm saying this to say, we need to talk about how should we react to this? Should the reaction just be the typical reaction, talking about it on social media, making videos like I'm doing right now, making a post, commenting, writing an article? Is that the appropriate reaction, or is there a reaction that will actually get you something in return? There is a sentiment that black people who do exercise their Second Amendment right to bear arms are essentially dangerous to the cause of Black liberation. And this is, of course, because there's a split in the mentality of what Black people should be doing. Some people would rather us rely on a justice system, and other people feel like, you know what? Not only should we be advocating for some type of protections, but we also need to be advocating for protection in the here and now, meaning we have to be advocating for Black people to be armed. That is one means that we really have to take seriously right now. And if there's no other reason to take that seriously, just keep in mind that anytime that this happens and people are let off, people don't have ramifications. And people do get to go on and live their lives after taking the life of someone that looks like us. Keep in mind that that does create inside of the psyche of the white racist a mentality that they can actually do things to you and face no consequences. So the more and more we see acquittals, the more and more we see that there aren't indictments, no charges, the more and more that happens, the more and more that emboldens the white supremacist who feels that they can actually go into your community and do things and not face any type of ramifications, not have to answer to the law because the law will back them. So if there's no other reason why you should be trying to understand that we do have to find ways to protect ourselves in our neighborhoods, in our homes, when we leave our homes, even if we're in their neighborhoods, that's just one of the big things that we have to keep in mind. The other thing, though, is something I emphasize a lot, and that is organization. The fact that our people, we are not poised in this position. Right now, we're not poised to do anything about Ahmaud Arbery's murder. We're not poised to do anything about the fact that this Black man was lynched, that it was caught on camera. Yeah, we're poised, obviously, to protest and all that stuff, but that isn't going to do anything in itself. We are at the mercy of a justice system. And the reason why we're at the mercy of that system is because we're not organized to affect change on that system. We're not organized to actually give these people a real wake-up call to say that, hey, you're not just dealing with some individuals who might come together once someone is killed or might come together just for protest, and then once the protest dies out, you won't be bothered with us again. No, we need to let the outside institutions know that this is a force of people who are not going to let up, that have people who are united as far as our demands. We have to let the system know that they're not just dealing with something sporadic, but they're dealing with something organized. That is how we do something different. If no one's talking about organizing at this point, then you're not talking. If you're not talking about joining Black organizations, building Black coalitions, let's say you're already inside of a Black organization, building coalitions with other Black organizations. If you're not talking about doing those things, then you're just not talking. If you're not ready to do those things, then you're not ready to do anything. So that's what we really have to talk about. Number one, again, the fact that we all do have to really take serious. If you have not already, if you're not in a position to protect your family, you really do have to take serious having the right to bear arms. But not just that, you have to take serious being in a Black organization, being poised to affect change, being poised to ensure that the system is not going to get away with this, assuming that they do actually let these people off the hook. Be poised to show that Black people were not in the victim position, but that we're actually in the position of power. And that's the big thing that I want to convey in this video. Obviously, it's a tragic situation. Every single killing of a Black person, I don't care what you look like, whether it's you're being killed by one of your brothers and sisters or whether you're being killed by a white racist, every single life that we lose is a casualty of a war against white supremacist ideologies and systems, and so we have to look at it like that. Obviously, the situation is tragic, and hopefully we as a people at this point understand that we're not in a position to do anything different. We're not in a position to see a different result. So hopefully there will not be 1,000 other murders of people that look like us before we wake up to the fact that we are not inside of a system where we are safe, and that we are not poised as a people to be safe whenever we are basically at the mercy of our oppressor to take it easy on us, to do right by us, to not harm us. That's never in a position that you want to be in. So that's all I have for this video. I will see you guys in the next video.